This video is brought to you by
Cool green clothing coming straight up out of that DMV. You know what it is. This that Baltimore designer right here. Come on now, come and show some love and show some support. Go online right now, coolgreenclothing.com, and make your purchase. Oh yeah, by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way, and that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely share the content with your peoples. Everyone is welcome to the channel. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Don't be scared to comment. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about the situation. And definitely watch the video to the end. Let's get right into the story. The streets are very political. No matter what state or city you are in. Around the world, the streets have their own code of ethics, politics, laws, and expects whoever is involved to follow everything to a T. That might have went far back in the 70s and 80s, but now them rules are bent, sometimes even broken, depending on the individual. For example, it used to be, if I'm beefing with you, I'm not gonna pull up at no kid's birthday party I feel you are at and start shooting, because it's innocent people and children all around. Or if you give me a pack, we make an agreement how much I owe you, make a deal, I flip the product and bring you your bread back. But when you are dealing with wolves, any sign of weakness, you become looked at as a meal. In Baltimore, we have a thing called taking somebody off. Meaning, yeah, you gave me something, but I took that. It's mine now. You beat. Basically, take it as an L or do something about it. Some people might let it fly and say, you know what, it's not even worth it. But others feel like if I'm out here and I let one person take something from me, I might as well hang up my street career, because now, as wolves move in packs, I know more are coming. But when you decide to jump into them street politics, thinking the laws and codes will be upheld, you definitely got to understand dealing with the wrong individuals could put you and everybody around you in jeopardy. And sometimes innocent people even get caught in the mix. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll take it all the way back to 2018 to discuss a case of a man fresh home from the feds that got caught up in the middle of Baltimore street politics. Back in February 2018, Andreas Tamaris was 47 years old and had just been released from federal prison. Andreas was a former developer in Highlandtown when him and a few other people decided they would make some fast money by making straw purchases for homes or mortgage fraud, buying the homes under false names or information for a price and flipping them for a higher price. At first, it sounds like regular real estate agents until you add fake names, information, or false businesses. But Andreas had already served his time and was back in the streets of Baltimore. He had 5 co-defendants that also did time with him on a Fed case. But now back uptown, he went to an area in the city he was familiar with, the diverse Highlandtown. On February 19th, 2018, that day, the man had only been free 3 days and decided he needed a fresh haircut. He had a spot in mind, his and her Professions on Eastern Avenue. He entered the spot and waited for his turn. While waiting to get in the chair to get his cut, 2 men entered the shop, one with a rolling suitcase. After a few words, a shotgun came out of the suitcase and the other man upped the gun as well. One of the barbers and owner of the shop at that time, who we will call P, tried to get a good look at the men who were wearing masks at the time. As Andres was confused on what was going on, the man stood up and threw his hands in the air before a shotgun blast went off, hitting him in the chest. P upped his own weapon and returned fire while ducking for cover in the bathroom, as now it was a full-blown shootout going on. One of the masked men were also hit. Also, another client was shot in the hand. After a minute, the men fled and P called Baltimore City Police. They responded to the 3200 block of Eastern Avenue in Highlandtown to find Andreas suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest. He was rushed to Bayview Hospital, but unfortunately, he was pronounced gone. Back on the scene, multiple shell casings matching 3 guns were found, also a suitcase. But P at first claimed he didn't know what happened and had no rap for the police. Upon realizing Andreas just came home from a Fed case, detectives instantly thought he was a target of a hit since he was released just 3 days prior. But later that night, a 29-year-old man named Sammy Carroll walked into John Hopkins, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was questioned and stated he was walking in East Baltimore and was shot. As detectives who had got surveillance video from the area of the barbershop shooting was looking at the video, they got a call of a walk-in shooting victim. They went to the hospital and noticed a dark-colored SUV parked, and police already talking to the driver, who stated they were just dropping somebody off who was shot. A search of the vehicle revealed the flannel shirt with blood stains on it. Further looking at the SUV, detectives realized it looked like the same car from the security footage in Highlandtown that a few men were talking by shortly before the shooting. The next day, detectives went to talk to Sammy, who stuck to his story. He was down the hill when he was shot and not in Highlandtown, and didn't know why the SUV would be up there. With no evidence, detectives had to fall back, but they would get a surprising break. P, the shop owner, decided he would give information. He sat down with detectives and stated he knew exactly what happened and felt bad an innocent man lost his life, in reference to Andreas. P claimed he didn't want to come forward at first because of the street code. Also, he was a convicted felon who had a gun on him the day of the shooting and shot back. He stated earlier that day he was at a laundromat washing clothes when he glanced over and saw Sammy also washing. He had knew Sammy for about 2 years, and Sammy sometimes sold grass for him. P had recently gave the man some weight that he still owed him for. So when Sammy didn't acknowledge him, he approached the man like, "Yo, you got that bread?" But Sammy's demeanor was different. He became irritated and mad, basically saying, "I'm not giving you that back. How you want to carry it?" Even allegedly threatening to beat up P. P got into his car and was able to get away from the situation, as he had a client to cut at the shop later on that day. But he claimed when the 2 men walked in, he instantly knew one of them was Sammy because of his bop and his eyes, even though they had on masks. P told detectives he had returned fire and shot Sammy, and that Sammy also was the one with the suitcase and shotgun who shot Andreas. He pointed Sammy out in a lineup. The video surveillance also showed the man wearing the same clothes Sammy walked in the hospital wearing, jumped out of the car with a suitcase. Another man followed. A few minutes later, the man ran back to the alley, this time without the suitcase. With this information, Sammy was charged with first-degree hit, attempt, conspiracy to commit a hit, and other charges. He never admitted to anything, but as the case made its way to trial, P would take the stand. Also, the surveillance video was played in court, and DNA on the flannel shirt allegedly matched Sammy's. It was stated by the prosecution Sammy was mad that P approached him about the money owed and decided he would get rid of the man for good by hitting him up at his barbershop. And unfortunately, Andreas just happened to be there that day, caught in the mix. Eventually, Sammy was found guilty and sentenced to life plus 60 years in prison. Rest in peace to Andreas. He had a family, kids, and was a businessman. Even though he made a mistake like all us, but that doesn't mean his life wasn't important. It's messed up when a situation or bullet wasn't even for you. I thought to myself, how yo gonna get mad? This man wanted his bread back for his pack. People not trapping for fun or to give out handouts. But then I remembered growing up, I had a few mans just like Sammy, bold enough to take you off, walk right past you like you a swine, and dare you to say something about it. Usually the person who gets took off crashes out for respect. But in this case, I guess Sammy felt untouchable and that nobody better play with him at all. All ego. It's a lot of men gone or in that cell because they either broke the street rules or couldn't properly follow them, as the laws and politics change every day. But hey, that's the Baltimore way. Man, crazy story. Rest in peace, that man. I ain't gonna say too much more about this one. Y'all definitely let me know what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Y'all already know it's all love, fam. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out.